All right, Kamaru Usman, here we are, Tarleton State. Man, what brings you out here today?
Well, most people might not know, but I'm a Texan. I grew up in Arlington, Texas, and part of that process of growing up is, you know about the big schools, the UT and the Texas A&M, and Texas Tech, and you just want to, you want to continue, especially as a wrestler. You want to wrestle for a school in Texas, but unfortunately, it wasn't that opportunity. So most of us have to branch out and go to different schools, different states to wrestle. But now, obviously my coach, my club coach growing up, has taken that big step to step into getting Texas on the map to where they should be. Because there's a lot of talent that's left the state of Texas, especially in the sport of wrestling. So now we get that opportunity to potentially keep some of those kids here in Texas at Tarleton State University, starting the wrestling program.
So what was the Texas wrestling scene like when you were in those youth wrestling days?
I want to say I'm tough. It was tough because it's just, at that time, we just had one state tournament for 5A, 4A, didn't matter, they were all one. And it was tough, but in the club, and that was one of the biggest things that really kind of helped steer my life in the way that it did is having that club atmosphere to be able to wrestle, especially in the summers. It was something that kept me focused, kept me busy, and definitely focused my life in the direction it needed to go. So, I'm extremely thankful to Alan being able to do that for just kids from Arlington that didn't know about the sport until our freshman year. So I'm so glad we were able to get into a sport like wrestling because it definitely changed our lives. And now being able to see that come into a collegiate program is going to be instrumental in just kind of, the development for Texas wrestling.
Talking to everybody in this building, it's Alan's name that comes up over and over. What kind of role has he had in wrestling and in Texas wrestling?
Alan's been very instrumental all the way from having Southwest back in the day to where obviously being the president of Team Texas, which is at that time is when me and Alan, our path crossed, and he became just that big instrumental guy in our lives and making sure that we got to those tournaments and competed with some of the best kids in the country, to where eventually led us to where we had to go to school for college, wrestle in college. And most that don't know, I wrestled at the University of Nebraska at Kearney and was a 3-time All-American, 2-time finalist, and a national champion my senior year. So had that been a school in Texas, I might have not made that move.
I mean, Nebraska Kearney, they've reaped the riches of Texas. They had you, national champ. Obviously, we got world medalist Tervel Delagnev. But yeah, you think if Tarleton State had been around, you think he maybe would have come over here?
Potentially, for sure. Potentially, it's definitely one of those things that as a young man growing up, you don't necessarily want to stray too far away from home. And so, if there is a program, I'd rather be 4 hours away from home than maybe 13, 14 hours away from home. So, you've got extreme talents. You've got guys like Rafian Stotts, myself, Tervel Delagnev, just countless wrestlers. I mean, back in the day, you had Ben Heiser, All-American, national finalist from NIU. And so I think Bo Nichols from Texas.
Yeah.
So you have countless amount of talent that potentially would have stayed home had there been a program. But now that Alan has taken that step, I think we're going to start to see in the next coming years, Texas wrestling starting to be a force.
So a lot of places where wrestling is big, they don't have the same sports culture that Texas has. Youth sports in Texas are they're a different animal. How would you describe youth sports in Texas?
Oh, it's definitely different animal. Especially growing up and when I started wrestling, especially in the club during the summers, and seeing kids tournament going on as well, and seeing just how just involved the parents are and how serious they take it here. It's on another level. And now having a collegiate program to where now where all that kids foundation, where that's going to eventually lead to, I think it's a win-win for Texas all around.
So you obviously you're mixed martial arts star. You've mastered a lot of martial arts. What role would you say wrestling has played in your MMA career?
It's instrumental. Wrestling, I believe, is if not the best foundation, one of the best for sure. Because you just learn the ability to control. I say wrestling is always the ability to control the real estate of the fight, or even self-defense. And so, having wrestling in my back pocket, it definitely made the transition to mixed martial arts a lot easier and a lot faster. I believe I became a champion in a little under 6 years. So I'm always thankful for the sport of wrestling. So, hey, wrestling, I think, is one of the best basics.
Tarleton State, right now they're at club status, hopefully Division I status. What would be your argument for why they should go ahead and make that move final?
For sure, I think it's one of those things where you could see the production. Once you start to get some of these kids stay and really start to go into these programs, and of course winning is what everybody wants to do. So once you start winning, it's going to be a clear consensus that yes, this definitely needs to be a Division I program.
Awesome. Well, Kamaru, I appreciate your time. Anything else for the wrestling fans out there?
Well, I mean, Texas has been behind for a long time, but now they're finally getting their foot in the door. So you're going to start to see a turnaround really quick. Because they say, Texas wrestling is not up to par with some of those guys, but hey, they're taking a big step here with Allen and Tarleton State. This could be something great.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.